Fragrances I regret buying. Let's talk about it. What's going on YouTube? I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I talk about fashion, fragrances, grooming. Mess with your boy. I'm gonna have you looking good and smelling great. So if you're into that, make sure you hit subscribe, man. Don't forget to enable notifications by hitting the bell icon as well, so that way, anytime a new video gets uploaded, you will get notified. On today, I'm gonna be talking about some fragrances I actually regret buying. Now, there's a lot of talk sometimes on YouTube and different platforms about, people that talk about fragrances not really talking about fragrances or giving fragrances bad ratings. Me personally, for me, that all has to do with I really, genuinely, wholeheartedly love fragrances and I love talking about them. And I don't really get joy out of talking about things that I don't like, honestly. And it's that simple. That doesn't mean that there haven't been some times in my experience in my fragrance journey I purchased some things that just didn't really like as much as I thought I would, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we'll run the intro and we'll come back and get into it. So if you want to hear some fragrances that I purchased that I kind of regret, then you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into this video. Now, this first fragrance, actually the first three fragrances are from the same brand. One of the things that, I feel pretty confident in doing is, knowing, generally speaking, what I like in fragrances. A lot of times I can look at notes and get a really good sense for whether or not I like a fragrance. So, people, have, dialogue and conversation about whether or not you should blind buy. My thing is, if you have the money and if you, see notes in a certain fragrance and you kind of know what you like, a lot of times I'm about 95%, certain that if I see notes and I buy a fragrance, I'm going to at least like it. Especially if it's a fragrance that's not easily accessible where I can go in. I don't want to wait on ordering a sample, sometimes getting a sample and ordering it. You know how that is. So sometimes, we blind buy. And these first three fragrances, based on the notes, I was 100% sure almost that I would like them, or 95% sure that I would like them, but they didn't quite meet my expectation. So this first fragrance, and again, they all are from the same brand, the brand of Fort and Manle. All right, and this first fragrance is called Amber Absolutely. Amber Absolutely. It had amber, honey, plum, rose, and a lot of folks said that it was supposed to be kind of like a similar to Tom Ford's Amber Absolute. They couldn't have been more wrong. What I really think is, when I put my nose to this, the honey throws this fragrance off. It may be good for some people, but the smell of this fragrance makes me think about, this is crazy, but this is kind of what it smells like. I don't really like taking meds, all right? And Theraflu is something that, it doesn't taste bad, but what I usually do to kind of doctor up Theraflu, I usually put a little bit of honey and lemon juice in it, and that's kind of sort of what this makes me think about. I mean, even look at the color of the juice. Normally, amber fragrances are more dark, and they have more of a, darker brown hue to it. This is more golden, in color, and again, the honey throws it off, man. It's not horrible, but it definitely did not meet, my expectations. Smells nothing like Amber Absolute from Tom Ford. So this is the first fragrance to me that I kind of regret buying. Again, there's two others from this particular brand. This one is called All the Queen's Men. All the Queen's Men. Now, what you get in this one is dried fruits, honey, rum, vanilla, cinnamon, all notes that I love. And usually in fragrances, when I have those notes together, they usually just work out for me. I love those notes, and I love them together a lot of times. But this one, it just something a little bit for these fragrances. I don't want to say synthetic. It's just something about them, just based on those notes that this one also didn't quite meet my expectation. And when I hear those notes, I would think it would be a darker juice, but they're all like the same color, you know? Now these fragrances used to come in a different presentation as far as the bottle, so I don't know if it's like a reformulation thing. And again, this one isn't horrible, but there's something about it that just doesn't quite sit well with me. It's not horrible, but definitely didn't meet my expectations. So this one is called All the Queen's Men from Fort and Manle. And the last one here, which is probably, honestly, out of the three, my favorite. But I went ahead and included it because I guess I would say as well, not quite to my expectation based on the notes, but this one is called Late Harvest. Now this does have darker color juice, but it has cherry, tobacco, vanilla, and rose. Let me give myself a spritz of this one, because I think of the three, this was probably my favorite. Yeah, this is probably my favorite. I just kind of I talked about a fragrance that I love, Vanille Havane. Kind of puts me in the mindset of that a little bit. Not as well done, then you have that cherry in there, but of the three, this is probably the one I like the most. But I think collectively as a whole, these three fragrances didn't quite meet my expectation from the brand of Fort and Manle. But of the three, this is probably the best one out of the three. But when I heard those notes again, cherry, tobacco, I'm like, I'm probably gonna love this stuff. Didn't quite meet my expectation. But again, this one is called Late Harvest from Fort and Manle. All right, guys, the next fragrance comes from the brand of Clive Christian, and this is called Clive Christian X. This is the masculine version. There's a feminine version. Now, this particular fragrance, I just have a love-hate relationship with it. I think this fragrance may have like cypress and rhubarb. Cypress is really tricky for me sometimes, and rhubarb, there's several fragrances I have that have rhubarb in it, and it kind of throws me off. It gives almost this vegetal kind of presence to fragrances that I don't particularly care for, and I think those two notes are what kind of throws me off with this. There have been times where I put this on and I'm intrigued by it and I kind of like it, but then there's probably about 60% of the time that I put it on, I'm like, not really feeling it. And I put it on the list because at the price, the retail price is like $525. So although I didn't pay that for it, I probably paid about $275, $300 maybe. But still, at that price point, kind of regret buying it because I don't love it. So this is one I kind of regret buying, although I like it sometimes. From the brand of Clive Christian, this is Clive Christian X. All right, guys, the next fragrance is from the brand of Joal, and this is called Coquillete. Coquillete. Now, what I feel about this fragrance is I was kind of exploring just some houses I've never really heard about, and I saw this one, read the notes. The primary note is chocolate. There's supposed to be some other things in here as well, but unfortunately, you don't get anything except chocolate. This smells just like a Tootsie Roll. And I have fragrances that have chocolate in them that I really love, but it's because the chocolate is in addition to other notes. I can pick up other things like chocolate makes me happy. It is a fragrance that I love that features a note of chocolate from Unique Luxury, but this is just straight up chocolate. So not really a fan of this, kind of regret buying it. I don't really see any way to wear this because it smells like nothing but chocolate. From the brand of Joal, again, this one is called Coquillete. Kind of regret this one. All right, guys, the next fragrance or the next fragrances are all from the brand of YSL, and this fragrance is from the YSL line. All of these. Listen, this is a particular line where you need, I say, the original and one of the flankers. All the rest of them are redundant. So while I love the fragrance, none of them smell bad. All I'm saying is, outside of the original and maybe one flanker, the rest of the flankers from this line are really redundant and unnecessary. So outside the original, and I don't know which other one, maybe YSL Y Live, the rest of them are kind of redundant in my humble opinion. So I regret buying so many flankers from the same line. Next one. All right, guys, the next fragrance is from the brand of Bond Number 9. You guys know how much I love Bond Number 9 fragrances, but this one, I'll just show you the bottle. Little Italy. Little Italy. This is just an orange, citrusy fragrance. There's nothing to it at all. There's no development. You just spray it, kind of smell like oranges. That's it. You know, this is the only Bond No. 9 fragrance I have in the 50 ml size. I had a few 50 mls and I upgraded most of them to the 100 mls. I like my collection to kind of have a particular look as well. And this is the only one I never upgraded. I had like maybe 3 that were in smaller sizes, like New York Oud, but it's just an orange fragrance. There's nothing to this fragrance outside of that. So there's no complexity, it doesn't develop. And you know, again, so I just kind of use it sometimes to layer, to brighten things up. But other than that, I don't wear it. So one I kind of regret buying from Bond No. 9 is Little Italy. All right, guys, the next fragrance I want to talk about that I kind of regret buying from another brand that I love. I love all other 33 or so fragrances I have from this brand. This is the one that I just don't vibe with. From the brand of Amouage Figment Man. Figment Man, guys. I get the creativity aspect of this. There's a little bit of a lemon kind of citrusy top to this. It's very short-lived. After that, it is just earthy, dank, slightly skanky elements to this, and it is not for me, man. It is not for me. Yeah, this is not it, man. I regret buying this fragrance. I got a good deal on it, but still regret buying it. I just don't like it. Again, I see the creativity in it. Amouage is a very creative brand, but this one just doesn't work for me, man. Again, I just get skank and dank earthiness really from this fragrance. Outside of that, a little bit of brightness from the lemon opening, but Figment Man ain't for me, bro. Definitely regret buying this fragrance. All right, guys, and last but not least on this list, this fragrance comes from the brand of Thomas Kosmala, and this one is called No. 5 Frenesy. Now, I smelled this fragrance in dealers before, and I loved it. So I don't know, I got this one from FragranceGuy. I don't know if this was just a bad bottle, but this smells nothing like the fragrance that I smelled in dealers. Nothing like it. This smells like Barnyard Oud. Now there's another fragrance from this brand that kind of smells like Barnyard Oud. It might be number 10. I can't remember. Oud Bakar or something like that. It might be number 11. This kind of smells more like that than the number 5 that I smell, which is a more fresher, really versatile fragrance from this brand. So I don't know if this was just a bad blend, a bad mix of ingredients on this one, or I don't know what it is, but what I got in this bottle, I absolutely hate. Is a Barnyard Oud, and that's all I get from it. So maybe the mixture was off in this one, where it had a lot more oud than what was intended. I don't know, but I definitely regret buying this. There's nothing I can do with this. This is straight up skanky Barnyard Oud, and I don't rock with that. But that is it, guys. That is my time. What are some fragrances you have in your collection that you regret buying? I would love to hear from you down in the comment section. Now, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side.